Ranking the posters again. Ranking the posters again. Ranking the posters of the back half of the Pink Panther series. It's a lot of sleaze. Bonjour and buongiorno to the Everything Sequel podcast, YouTube edition. As the song said, we're ranking the sequel posters to the back half of the Pink Panther series. I'm Tom Stewart. I'm from the now defunct Lonesome Whistle production. He's not. That's Mike Shantz. He's from the still crazy after all these years How Dare You Awards. Mike, please stop me. I'm turning into a radio DJ. Stop me.
Well, I think you're being generous describing that as a song.
It's in the spirit of the Bobby McFerrin a cappella version
Yes,
of the
yes.
Pink Panther from Son of the Pink Panther. Which no joke. The other day I was listening to the episode while I was running some errands and I had my headphones on, and whenever the theme came in on our breaks, I
Yeah.
thought someone had started a sprinkler in the vicinity. I looked at least twice. I looked around to see if it was a sprinkler, but it was just Bobby McFerrin warming up. I think tells you all you need to know about that man and his musical style.
And us. That's right, everyone. We listen to our own episodes.
Well, sure, you gotta it's
Gotta
quality control, right?
gotta
You
make
gotta
sure they're going out right.
like star of one of these movies, Robert Loggia. Actually, more than one of these movies.
Yeah.
Um,
Too many
in
of these
Big,
movies.
in Big, right? He's the boss and he goes to the toy store on a
Yeah.
Saturday to see what's going on and
Hmm.
mistakenly thinks Tom Hanks is doing the same rather than just being a kid going to a toy store.
Chopsticks every weekend.
Lots of Three's Company style misunderstandings in that movie.
Yes.
Having seen it again recently, but it's still a delight.
Yeah, see, I think it's still a delight as well, but some people are, hung up on an older woman having sex with a young man who's not a man, but a boy, but he looks like a man. What's
Well,
she
he is.
supposed to do?
Well, he's mentally a boy, but that's not illegal,
Right?
is it?
I don't know. Actually, the second you said that, I said, well,
Checking for a friend. Well, here
Your
we are.
Honor, hair on the balls.
Yeah, is I don't know. Is there a time when that's going to become the sleepaway camp of its age? I don't know. I think it's still got a good few years on
I
Disney
think
Plus, yes,
so.
before it gets pulled. It might get a trigger warning one of
It's
these days.
it's ultimately a much sweeter movie than Sleepaway Camp could ever hope to be.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And Sleepaway Camp was made in a time where even they should have known better.
Yes, right.
Whereas Big, I think, was about appropriate to where people were in relation to the time.
Agreed.
Sleepaway Camp was very much behind it, behind
But it's not
even
what
the
we're here to talk about, Tom.
none of this is what we talk about. We just keep digging deeper into the movie hole.
Uh,
But at least we're talking about Robert Loggia. And how did we get to the first part of this? I
I
don't
don't
really
know.
even.
I don't know how we got to Sleepaway Camp.
Oh yeah, okay. So, um, but we were originally talking
And
about
well, yeah, we got to Big
Bobby McFerrin.
because of Robert Loggia. So
Yeah,
there was connective tissue.
we listened to our own podcasts. And that's why I thought Bobby McFerrin was a sprinkler. There we are. We're right back where we started, and
Perfect.
here we are again, ranking the posters. Um, so yeah, I've all I've done is to we heralded this series right down the middle.
Hmm.
And we've also covered the original and reboot on Patreon. So I've cut the baby in half, and so these are the remaining posters that we're gonna rank today.
All right.
Um, any final reflections on this series? I mean, normally when we do a series this long and we break it up into two, we do a wrap up episode, but there seems to be less and less need for that since we've got these poster ranking. Uh,
Hmm.
um, what would you call them? Tail ends.
I was going to say babblings.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, these little these kind of little ponytails
Yes,
um
right.
to the main series. But any final reflections having come to the end of, well, I mean, let's call it 10 movies, uh but eight
Hmm.
sequels.
Yeah,
That's right. That's right. Isn't Have I got my numbers right? Eight sequels, 10
sure.
because oh wait, no, Pink Panther 2.
Oh, yeah.
Huh. How does that work?
That's an 11th movie.
11 wow. Such a
And we
huge
covered it.
and we covered it. We covered all the Pink Panther movies is the headline here.
Yeah.
Um
For once, our
for
work is done.
for what our work is definitely done. There's no Pink Panther reboot in sight, or sequel. Um I think we're good for a few years.
Yeah. I've had a couple of thoughts in the last few days to answer
Okay.
your original question.
Oh, thanks for noticing I had an original question because I
One,
can't remember what it is.
one, I was driving around today and I literally thought to myself, I don't know, it's almost as though I fused the two halves of
Hmm,
sequels together as though we'd been doing them the whole time.
sure.
And and it felt like we'd been doing the Pink Panther for months.
Yes. Well,
And
it's not untrue.
yeah. And so that in itself felt remarkable to me that I don't know, the back half of this series made me feel tired in a way.
Yeah, it saps your energy in a way that
Yes.
the first half kind of raises your energy, the second half saps it.
It's not a house party level
Mm,
zapping of my energy, but I'm in the ballpark. Like I'm in that parking lot outside
mm.
the ballpark, realizing that that's how I was starting to feel. But then all of a sudden, I realized because that last movie is 93, right?
Correct. Well, depends what you mean by the last movie, but the last movie we covered, yes,
Yeah.
is 93.
So it's a 93 movie, but I'm pretty sure I have this right. Is Ace Ventura 94?
That sounds right to me. Yeah.
And it just feels like I don't know. Jim Carrey crossed my mind, and I
Hmm.
thought if you were ever gonna
If they
supplant,
waited a year, they
yeah,
could have got
right.
Jim Carrey.
It just seems like Jim Carrey could have got us, four more movies probably.
That's so interesting, especially when you think he's about to do a couple of Ace Ventura movies,
Yeah.
which is it's really the same setup, isn't it?
Hmm.
Detective, physical comedy, comedy star.
Right.
So they could have absolutely plugged him to a Pink Panther reboot, Pink Panther continuation. And
Yeah, I
well,
mean he
they wouldn't have
doesn't.
known to reboot it at the time. That language just wasn't there. But
Right.
they would have. Well, I mean, there's precedent. What year did Sergeant Bilko come out?
Mm.
And the Honeymooners, they were actually rebooting
Yeah.
classic
Yeah.
comedy at the time in movies. And that's Sergeant Bilko's Steve Martin as well.
I know.
So he stepped into Phil Silver's and Peter Sellers' shoes.
Let's go, campers. Wakey, wakey. It's the
Is
only
that
line I remember from.
Well, I mean, the Phil Silver show is one of my favorite sitcoms, so I physically can't bear to watch the Sergeant Bilko reboot, it would hurt my eyes, I think, to even
like
look at
everything
it.
else.
Well, yeah, but especially that, and no one's ever said a good word about it. I think there was also Car 54, Where Are You, which is the other Nat hiking
Hmm.
show
Yeah, I
that was
think
big.
so.
Didn't they do like a movie version of that in the 90s too? So we haven't considered this, but now I'm thinking about it. This was all the rage.
Yeah.
And I think you're
I
right. I think it could have easily been Jim Carrey. The other thought,
yeah.
when you said Jim Carrey, the other thought that crossed my mind was Yahoo Serious. Could have been a son of Clouseau.
I really thought I was the only person that remembered Yahoo Serious.
Well, how could you forget him? Like his name is not a name.
Right.
You don't
It's a
forget an
website.
you, you don't forget a name like Yahoo Serious. Is it Young Einstein? That was his, I want to say, breakthrough, but
Yeah, that sounds right.
he plugs his hair into the.
That's what I remember is
Yeah.
the we were
There's
talking a
another
groove tube
Drew
kind of
Tube monkey
situation.
with
I remember him jumping in the air with the guitar plugged in and his hair going up.
yeah, it's another Groove Tube gorilla with a TV on his head moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And also Carrot Top, maybe.
Mm.
Especially with all the prop comedy in the Pink Panther series. He could have I suppose Dana Carvey's Master of Disguise is a homage to the Dr. August Ball's dimension of the Pink Panther movies.
Yeah, right.
So there's a
Yeah,
great
so there
clip.
were things in the 90s that were circling the drain of
Yeah.
the end of the Pink Panther series.
The Little Rascals as well. There was a
Hmm.
reboot of that in the 90s. Bizarrely. I mean, that was the most extreme one because the Little Rascals is what, the 30s? So
Yeah, but I don't know. I think people were remembering, it's kind of like the Warner Brothers cartoons. Like
yeah,
even if they were made
shown
before
later,
that,
but
they
yeah,
were shown later in a way
like the Three
where,
Stooges.
yeah, like I remember seeing them as a kid. So,
The Brady Bunch,
yes.
Beverly
Are
Hillbillies.
you just trying to pad time now?
No, no, I'm just amazed that the thought hasn't crossed either of our minds before that the 90s was a hotbed
Yeah.
of rebooting specifically mid-century American TV and movie comedy.
I was thinking about this the other day though, because up until the turn of this new century,
Uh-huh.
American life just in general, but especially film and television,
Yeah,
they always seem very interested with what's going on 30 years in the past. Think about Back to the
100%.
Future,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? That kind of thing. Grease.
The 30-year rule.
It's the 30-year rule. And I'm trying to rack my brain. I don't think current generations care about 1995
Well,
right
I put
now
it
and the way we cared about 1955 and 85.
I think it's less a matter of not caring is that it actually doesn't look that different.
Mm,
Because Friends, it's never gone away.
yeah, right.
Because that's you're talking Friends, you're talking
Sure.
Seinfeld, you're talking shows that and shows that are still on the air like The Simpsons
Hmm.
and to a lesser extent
Law
South
and
Park.
Order.
Law and Order, right? So it's kind of I think you're absolutely right. I think that it's treated less nostalgically, but I think less has happened culturally in the last 30 years to
That's true.
distinguish what was made then from what was made now, and what's being made now doesn't have the same kind of mass appeal. Like people
Yeah.
still rally
Nobody
round these mass
nobody's
appeal properties
yeah.
that they just don't make anymore.
There aren't 50 million people watching a single episode of television,
Right.
unless it's the Super Bowl.
So it's less of an, I guess, nostalgia, but like this is the sort of the last of the Mohicans in that respect, and so it's like if you want
Hmm.
if you want anything that's mass appeal, you have to go back to the early 90s or the very latest, the early 2000s, which was typically the thing in the 90s ending.
Right.
But that's it. But you can't go any later than that.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Uh so I
Anything
guess
for you?
nothing, I mean, nothing that thought provoking. It's I mean, it's I'm fascinated, and we will be announcing what our next series is actually at the end of this episode. And uh
Hmm.
the teaser I'll give now is that it's another series that straddles different eras of cinema.
Sure.
And I'm just fascinated by those series and what they say about how cinema has changed, what they say about how certain directors have evolved, what it says about the changing nature of um, film stardom. And this series kind of has all of that, but the movies we've recently looked at, I agree, have been a real slog.
Yeah, but
Right from Revenge onwards, it's
yeah,
been it's been rough, and even
but
a little bit with Revenge, I'm starting to feel
mhm,
the fatigue.
the milk is starting to spoil.
Yeah. So
But piggybacking on what you were said, the thing that makes this series different than, say, other series, including your reference to what we'll be doing next and sitting in
yeah,
different eras of film, this is all controlled for the most part by one man.
right,
And
right.
that makes this series a little different. So to
Hmm.
watch Blake Edwards try and change with the times, which he does
Completely.
successfully in a lot of
Yeah, he
ways
does.
too.
Yeah, or not as you in most respects, maybe not all respects, but you don't feel like you're looking at a director who
Is still stuck in the 60s.
is still stuck in this. Yeah, literally still stuck in the
Yeah.
in the 60s, not in a kind of flower power sense, but in a
Hmm.
in a kind of he embraces cinematic innovations beyond the 1960s,
Yeah.
even though that's the era that he's closest identified with and he had his biggest successes in. Um, his 90s movies, I don't know, I haven't seen enough of them to compare, but Son of the Pink Panther looks like a 90s movie to me.
Hmm.
And that's rare. There's only a handful of directors who can last that long and adapt. Um, Thinking of like John Frankenheimer or someone like that, who
Yeah.
Alan J. Pakula, who kind of his movies kind of don't. You feel like he changes as the decades do.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is kind of it is kind of remarkable that he directed every single one of these movies bar one. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's so, in some senses, I'm glad to have it out of our lives. And in another sense, I think it was a very important series for us to cover in its entirety.
Yeah, true. I think so. I mean, it
Despite,
certainly says a lot about sequeldom
hmm
because it spans such a broad range in
yeah,
time. And so that's interesting to look at.
and I guess the different approaches to sequels as well.
Hmm.
Like, is it a continuation of the story? Is it a remake of a previous movie? What is it?
Does it stand on its own?
Yeah, is it a clip
Is it
show?
separate? Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Is it a
I remember when.
a lineage sequel? Yeah, I'll never forget that man on the street.
Amazing.
I love that. It only occurred to me while I was listening back to these episodes, which, by the way, we often do. That's kind of a line that's another step removed because it's Rich Little dubbing
Yeah,
David
right.
Niven saying that about a clip.
Yeah.
You couldn't get more removed from the source material, could you? Really? Unless someone was like it was a sock puppet of Rich Little. I mean that's the only way you could go further away from the source material.
Given a second chance to see that car crash again, did you notice the ape feet up out of the car?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so good.
That's that's
That's the
terrific.
that's the fucking best thing of that whole thing.
It's yeah, I mean it's up there, it's up there with Bullet, it's up there with Ronin, it's up there with the French Connection as
You're
far as
right.
I'm concerned.
As far as I'm concerned, yes. Ring
Just I
ring.
mean, yeah, as you know, if you think about innovative approaches to car chases, there's only a few movies
Right.
that can say that. Sonatine, Japanese movie,
Hmm.
which introduces the idea that you might not be pressing all the right buttons when you're driving the car, so you have windscreen wipers kind of going crazy as they just keep pushing the wrong button. There's lots of reversing out of you going into spots and having to like do a 3-point turn out of it, kind of.
Are you driving a car that's not yours in that movie?
It's just
Or is it just the panic?
it's just a simple kind of cops and robbers pursuit.
Okay.
But it's just a just a cop who's not having a great day and is pressing all the wrong buttons and finds himself like reversing into lots of places that he has to get out of really quickly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
Well,
let's do it. Let's
I'm ready. Dr. August Balls has started sharing.
is that what it said?
Yeah.
Which is a good subtitle for about three of these movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, so here we are at the not beginning, but the
Hmm.
beginning of the back half. Uh And this time, I tried to pick the poster that your photoshops were based on, and it was pretty
Yeah,
easy. These
I was
were
trying to find when I type it in, I put original poster
yeah, that's what I do
because
now. Yeah.
it's hard to with DVD covers and that kind of thing. They're switching stuff around a lot.
Um. So yeah, this is Revenge of the Pink Panther. Which I'll start first. Lots of high points in this poster, I think.
Hmm.
The tagline is great. Not
Sure.
exactly. I mean, is it a bit late for Jaws 78? I don't know.
Jaws
Jaws
2.
Mania. Oh, Jaws 2. It's a Jaws. Okay, so it's a sequel reference.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that clears it up. It's fantastic. Uh the stone lettering
I like that. And I
reminds
like the
me
different colors.
the different colors. Reminds me both of the cartoon and the Pink Panther cartoon and but and then just cartoons in general. Like the
Hmm.
way cartoons were in the 70s,
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
exemplified by the Pink Panther.
I'm almost hearing I'm just a bill.
Yeah, the only thing that would improve this is if they had the blue aardvark from the Pink Panther on the other side for no reason. Yeah, and when they change up the font and colors every third or fourth
Yeah,
line,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
but it works.
Hmm.
It works really well. I'm really impressed by how organized it looks because there's so many change, as going from top to bottom, there's so many changes as we go. And in really awkward places like
It
after Revenge of, before
Yeah,
the, but it
it
feels
feels like it should
coherent.
be haphazard, but
Uh,
it works.
I love that Diane Cannon has a box round her. I love it whenever they put a box round an actor in a poster because it
That means
well
something.
yeah, what does that mean?
I think I think it means that Peter Sellers has identified
Yeah.
her as the woman he'd most like to have sex with.
It could also be that they produced the poster with a different actress in it and had to just kind of
Yeah.
put a little post-it over it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I like a lot of this. I like the and the white background as well is very effective.
Hmm.
Um, the the business side of things is kind of nice and small at the bottom there with the
Yeah,
United
right.
Artists and the rating and all that sort of stuff, and it doesn't
But at
clunk
the
up
same
the
time, you can read it. It's not like you're,
yeah,
leaning in.
exactly. And it manages to do all of that. It manages to do a lot and still have kind of negative space as well.
Hmm.
So it's really impressive graphic design, I think.
Plus, United Artists logo.
Sure.
Squeeze
What
that
did
in
it?
there on the bottom. I like that.
Yeah, that we I think we talked about this, the United Artists logo that looks like the beginning of an 80s science fiction movie.
Yeah.
At, a movie that definitely works with was one I watched last night, which is Nicholas Rogue's Eureka,
Mm.
starring Gene Hackman. That is a movie that deserves that logo intro. There's a all if you haven't seen it, all I'll say is, and it's on
I
Prime.
have not.
All I'll say is, 20 minutes into the movie, Gene Hackman gets jizzed on by a sea of gold.
All right.
Yeah,
You sold me.
I know. Yeah, you have me at jizz.
I'll tell you one other thing that's good about this poster.
Yeah.
It's blocked in a way that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Black at the top and bottom,
Mm-hmm.
red,
Mm-hmm.
and then the different Revenge of
Ooh.
Pink Panther.
Oh, you're right. I hadn't. It's symmetrical, isn't it?
And
Like
it's
it, but
symmetrical in that
but
way. It's pleasing to the eye the way that kind of works.
it's what would you say? Horizontally symmetrical or vertically symmetrical? Which one applies?
I think vertically.
I think vertically. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a vertically integrated poster. No, you're absolutely right. I hadn't noticed. It's kind of black at the top, black at the bottom, red at the top,
Hmm.
red at the bottom, and then the pink and the brown. And also, it's quite hard, I think, to convey a visual gag in
Yeah,
poster
right.
form.
Yeah.
And they are landing on crushing Clouseau with
Smug
everyone's
Panther.
favorite smug, swarthy panther looking on is a great representation of that.
Hmm.
All right. Well,
I'm
that's
looking
a
at
two
the
thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm looking at the lines that show the movement of the R. It reminds me of the stink lines for Mo.
Yes. Ah, you got the stink
You got the
lines and
stink
everything.
lines and everything.
Today I had a revelation. Now that it's Andrew Como, isn't it? Who's the governor, not Chris. Chris is the disgraced newsreader. Andrew is the disgraced governor, right? That's how it works.
Did Chris get disgraced too? I can't even
Uh,
keep up.
yeah, because he got fired from CNN for like. Well, okay, let's stop there.
All right.
Don't need any more litigation. But anyway, Andrew Cuomo, I saw a picture of him and I was like, "That's Mo Sislek."
You're right.
New York had elected Mo Sislek as governor and is may do it again.
After he roided up.
It's sort of like I would just love it if he led into his Mo Sislekness, and so when he, if he wins the election, he goes up to the podium and goes, "Yeah, how you doing?" Like that before he says anything.
His lackeys are carrying a whale behind him, an orca.
His cat just starts moaning in the background. I'm asking her. I'm asking her.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Anything else about that before
No,
we? No, I think we're double thumbs up for that one. It's the one to beat.
so far.
Uh, This is slightly unfair because I found the
Because it's not a
best.
movie.
Well, but it is a movie poster. But the best version of this poster I found, the cleanest looking one, was an actual physical poster that had been scanned. So
Yeah, and it's
it's got that
still a little blurry, but
slightly bumpy quality that
yeah,
you know. So you can
I gotta
you
look a little closer to get that font at the top.
so it's a little bit
The newest
unfair.
and funniest
Yeah.
Panther of them all.
So that's propaganda, first of all,
Clearly,
and
they
it's
should have taken out and funniest. Just leave it at the newest.
and it's too faint to see.
Yeah, right.
So it's um
Because that'd be a great joke. Like if they knew what they had and they
yeah.
just put the newest Panther of them all.
Also, Panther in quotes.
Yeah.
Is that an acknowledgement that this isn't really a Panther movie or indeed a movie?
Or that their star is dead.
Yes. Um, and we've got the Smug Panther actually taking
Now,
up
I
90%
like,
of the poster.
yeah, I like the Panther.
Sure. Um,
If it was,
and
yeah, I mean, I like the cartoon of it because it tells a story,
mhm,
and the story is Clouseau's an idiot because the Panther's right in front of him. He can't see what's
right,
right in front of him. He's just following the trail.
correct. Um,
But I can't
and
shake the feeling that this is for a non-movie. I can't blame the poster for that, though. I'm going to try to not blame the poster.
try. It's hard though, isn't it?
Yeah,
But
it
the
is.
trailer's making a lot of unforced errors. I'm
Right.
sorry, not the trailer. The poster's
The
making a lot of
poster. Yeah, I knew what
makes
you meant.
a lot of fun. Like the 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 script is too faint.
Hmm.
At the top,
What's
it's
that
too
say above Trail of the Pink Panther?
exactly. That's too small. It says Peter Sellers
Okay.
in Blake Edwards, as the previous one did, to be fair. Um,
Yeah, but the other one has him in it.
the other one has him. It should be Peter Sellers in quotes
Yeah.
in Blake Edwards. A
But this
movie
doesn't have
by.
any of what we were describing in the last movie in terms of, you have the fonts at the top and the bottom and even over the Trail of the Pink Panther, but none of it can really be read easily
And I think
because
it
it's
would,
faint and
yeah,
small.
and it would be stronger if they cut it off at the title. It'd be stronger, but it's a
Yeah.
below that. It's a real mess.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're hedging their bets, right? Because they've got to show that all these people are in the movie because you know that even the film is going to know that Peter Sellers won't be in much of the movie.
Right.
So you've got to sell all these cameos.
Right.
But even with that, there's a more. So I understand why they've done it, but there's a more elegant way to do it than that. Than just having them in a line and then
Yeah.
the cast and crew
Do
below
you
it.
think that's an attempt for like a lineup?
Oh, the
Like a
suspects.
police lineup, like the suspects? Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen this before, I think, though, haven't we? We've seen put this done in posters before, like just
Certainly the usual suspects.
well, there's not that many usual suspects. There's just four and the one it is,
Yeah.
right? Is there five of them? Who are the usual suspects? Stephen Baldwin, Kevin
Baldwin,
Pollak,
Del Toro, Pollock,
Del
Spacey,
Toro, Byrne.
Byrne. Yeah.
F5. Or Giancarlo Esposito, if you want to follow that red herring, because he has the same cigar hat and clothes as Kaiser Soze has in
Sure.
the opening. So that was a deliberate red herring that you were supposed to follow through the movie to distract you from the fact that it's a sexual predator.
I was waiting for it.
Anything else to say about that?
No, not really.
And another direct contrast from the last one, a lot of negative space and use of white, but neither works.
Yeah, right.
So,
What's with that top right corner?
I mean, you could have at least three of those mugshots there if you wanted. Why don't you have the mugshots as like a forming a paw print?
Mm.
That'd be a better idea, wouldn't it?
I don't
now,
know.
now I know what I'm going to use my time machine for. Go back to 1982 and re. First of all, tell Peter Sellers to not eat so much pork or whatever it
I
was
was
that
gonna
ended
say,
up.
what are you gonna tell him to not die?
Hey, hey, any chance you could have a better diet living in Britain in the 1950s? Nope. Oh, okay. Just thought I'd check.
My bad.
I'm eating powdered egg. What the fuck do you think's gonna happen to me?
All
Yeah.
right, what's next? I know what's next.
You know
Curse.
what's next, and it doesn't look right with Ted Wuss's face and not yours on it.
I sold it, didn't I?
You really did, and I think the thing is, I think in first of all, I suspend disbelief that it's you on the who is the parasender here. Now we know the real term for it, thanks to the credits of this movie.
Still sounds wrong.
Still, it doesn't. It's not right. He's on. Doesn't sound right to say parasender. But I can also suspend disbelief that it's Sidney Pollock
Yeah.
or maybe Richard Belzer, both of whom I find entertaining and funny.
Yeah. Could be a young Jerry Lewis.
Well, they're definitely going for a Jerry Lewis type
Yeah.
mug to camera. By the way, Ted Wass is not this animated in the entire movie,
No,
so
I know.
this
Yeah.
this really is a liberal artist's impression of Ted Wass. So that's already points deductive. It's if you saw this poster, you'd be like, "Well, this guy looks like fun," and then you see
Yeah.
the movie and go, "I was lied to. I was lied to by the poster."
You know what's funny? I mean, I think we both remarked when I sent you the posters that I did,
Yeah.
I think we both remarked that we liked Curse the most.
When your face is in there, when it's not,
So coming in, that's my point though, is that coming into this, I really expected to really like this poster a
yeah,
lot. And then when it flashed on the screen in front of me just now, I went, oh,
yeah, your face really makes it. Um,
who knew my dumb mug could bring so much to a poster? Let's see, he's been bombed, blasted. Again, I can't read it.
he's been bombed, blasted, and
And
plugged in the parachute. Well, that
plugged in the
doesn't even make
parachute. What?
that doesn't even make sense. Is this any way to welcome the world's greatest detective?
Which he's not. Like specifically, that's a point of the movie. They go out of their way to try to find the world's worst detective.
As far as the computer's concerned, isn't he the world's greatest detective?
No, because
He's
Dreyfus
reprogrammed. Yeah,
reprogrammed it.
interesting. It's all
It
well,
should
and
say to welcome the worst world's greatest detective.
oh, this is the other thing. I was like, why isn't it Ted Wass in Blake Edwards' Curse of the Pink Panther? Apart from the obvious reason, that that was not
No
and will
talent
never,
hack.
yeah, was not and will never be a selling point. But look at the cast and crew below that. Look how lowy
Yeah.
introducing Ted Wass. That's why. But
Okay.
they put Niven Wagner,
Yeah.
Lumley, Capuchin. Really knows
Introducing
you.
Ted Wass.
Even
Wow.
Harvey Korman gets there above Ted Wass.
Rightfully.
Well, he's definitely a comedian.
With
So,
talent.
and why would you have a green type
Yeah.
on?
On top of a green mountain.
That's nonsense. And you know what really irritates me about this is how it really tests my OCD, the all the different strings and coming off the balloon.
Balloon.
It's too complicated. Look at this
Yeah,
mess of strings
yeah.
in three different bunches, creating all these erratic lines. It's too much mayhem for a poster. I guess that's the point.
I think that's the point, though. Yeah.
But I even in a poster, mayhem should still look clean. And this is just a big old scribble mess. And then you've got
I
the
oddly like
skywriting.
I
Oof.
oddly like the skywriting
You like the skywriting? Okay.
just because
I don't like that last loop. I know it's a nitpick, but I really don't like that
well,
last loop after
it
Panther.
does look like it's really floating in air. There's something there's something odd about that I like.
I
And
wish
I
I could
like
see that, but I don't think I can.
for some reason I like the Dutch angle of it all.
It's very Dutch, isn't it? Very continental.
Yeah. And
Um,
I do look kind of I think it's situated well. I like the white, I like the foreground, I like the blue, I like the green. I don't like any of the fonts
mm.
except the floating Curse of the Pink Panther.
Yeah, that the tagline font looks like something. I mean, it would be historically
Looks
impossible,
like
but
it's from Ryan's daughter.
well, it also looks like, when you make a cheap poster on, Microsoft Paint. That
Uh-huh.
looks like the font you'd do for that. Such a thing does not exist yet, so
Right.
I can't level it at that.
Hmm.
I don't like the panther face at all.
No, yeah, me either.
That's that's not that's not my hashtag not my
No.
Pink Panther.
Yeah.
I mean, he's too aggressive looking. He doesn't have any of the suave
He does not. Yeah, exactly. I was just
quality.
gonna say he doesn't have that 007 suaveness.
He's more of a Daniel Craig. No, he does actually look like Daniel Craig, but um, that's okay.
Like a blockhead, you mean?
But you said it, not me.
No, I know what you
Um,
meant. I was reading your mind.
well, it sounds like you like it more than I do, but we've both got issues.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is not quite our last one, but oh man, where to start with this? This is also unfairly uh scanned from a physical poster, so the bends and the creases, ignore that.
You say so.
Um, it's just it looks like the cover of a not very good 90s book.
Yes, right.
And I can't quite put my finger on what makes it that way, but like there was like a book series by, was it Tom Sharp, called the Wilt series, and all the covers were like this.
Hmm.
You would look at them and go, "This book thinks it's zany, so I'm not going to read it. This book must think it's a sideways look at today's culture, so no thanks."
Yeah.
Um,
This poster makes this movie look like the worst movie in the back half of the
yeah,
series.
it really does. Like it's not even really a movie.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, this is the one.
Yeah. Right.
This is the poster representing that. And yet, if you had to pick blind, you would go with this
You would
as being
absolutely.
as being the one. Yeah, it looks like
You know what?
a fan made movie is what it
That's
looks
what it
like.
looks like. I was just gonna say it looks like fan fiction because I specifically remember trying to find I must have looked at like 43 different posters of this same poster because
Yeah.
I thought surely I'll find one where Roberto Benigni looks like he wasn't added by a child with a computer
Yeah,
onto the poster, and they all look like this.
yeah. They created the poster by making a piece of clip art of Roberto
Yeah,
Benigni and then
yeah.
inserting it into the poster. There's now a graphic on Microscope Paint, a clip art
So
that is in
odd.
the shape of Roberto Benigni. Yeah,
And it's like, you remember when Biden and his wife Jill sat down with the Carters, and there was that weird forced perspective where they were bookending the
no,
Carters.
I don't remember this at
Oh,
all.
they were sat in chairs, and the Bidens were sort of leaning like on one knee next to them, I think.
Right.
And the forced perspective made them look like giants, and the Carters looked very small. And that's what's going on here with
Uh,
his giant right hand between Roberto and Benini.
you're so right. That's all perspective, but
Yeah,
it really looks like he's like a Quasimodo.
he does, because look how far in the waist goes to get that Panther gun finger into his side.
Gun finger.
Plus, Funny has a
Unreadable.
color all its own.
Yeah. Pink.
Yeah, I know what they meant. You don't have to explain it to me like I'm a dumbass. I'm
It's
saying
horrible. It's
I'm saying
absolutely
it's
horrible.
terrible.
It is horrible, yeah. Well, it doesn't help that it's not that the color of that type isn't pink either. It's purple.
Yeah, right.
So that's wrong. And then, if Trail of the Pink Panther is if the type is faint, then that cast list is
Oof,
beyond
like
faint -3.
it's so bad.
That's absolutely terrible. Yeah. I can't. So at one point, I'm using context clues to see that it's Son of the Pink Panther, but I can't actually read that. I only know it because it's in quotes. So I'm like, well, that must be the title, which I know is Son of the Pink Panther, but I
Right.
can't actually read it.
Plus, like they didn't even get the right photo. Benini looks like he's in on the joke.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I guess
that's
that does seem like the Benini type comedy, though, doesn't it?
it does, but I agree. I think that's the wrong photo to sell Benini to sell Benini to the audience. Weirdly, this does a better job of selling Ted Wuss than this does of selling Benini. But we all know who we would prefer to
Yeah.
see.
Well, don't say who we all, unless you just mean the two of us, because
6%.
6%.
We're how many how much of that 6%? 3 and 3?
Yeah. So we think this is the second best movie in the second half of the series.
Yeah.
And I'll go to my grave with that, but uh,
What a
I'm
weird thing to go to your grave with.
being
Now
lowered,
I'll be
being
I
lowered into the hole, like going like
well,
this.
I'm gonna be at your
I
funeral
regret nothing.
having to explain to your surviving relatives why you wanted that on your gravestone. Look, it's gonna take I'm gonna be able to explain how, but it's gonna take a while.
Oh, mercy. All right.
But assuming that I outlive you, which is perfectly possible, the reverse is true. Um. Okay, well, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna get any better, but um, this
Oofa.
is a remaining um poster to discuss.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the one. I guess we didn't cover this one for
whatever
somewhat
reason.
obvious reasons. It feels like we should have done, but
I mean, we did the Pink Panther 2 in the
exactly, yeah.
you
So this
know,
is just unfinished business,
yeah.
really. Even though, but I mean, it's the next one.
Yeah.
Um, and it came out February 10th, which is very important. And are they that short-sighted that they would put that on the poster? Because a month later, no one's going to care when it came out.
Sure, of
Also,
course.
you don't want to make a thing of your movie coming out in February, quite frankly.
Yeah.
That is not something you want to advertise.
You are secretly saying something. Not
Yeah.
secretly. You are just flat out saying something about your movie.
Although it is just in time for Valentine's Day,
Yeah.
which I guess it is a love story to some extent with him
What's
and
her name?
new
Paddington in Peru.
there you go, new Mrs. Brown.
Yeah.
Emily Mortimer, is that her name?
Mortimer. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen Paddington in Peru yet?
I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess we can't. It's always a thing. I was like, well, I guess we can't talk about it, but I hope
No,
you
not
enjoy it.
yet.
Um, yeah. All I'll say is I did. I certainly missed. Not to say I didn't miss Sally Hawkins. Obviously, any movie would miss Sally Hawkins.
Yeah.
Um, and I also miss Peter Capaldi as well
Okay.
as Mr. Curry, the neighbor. I
I
think
know.
he's an essential part of the Paddington paradigm. The
We're not here to talk about
paradigm.
that, Tom.
I know, but I just want to get it out there that there's certain things I'm not happy about, even though I'm generally quite happy.
All right.
Enough to fucking see it twice, once on my own.
I'll
Um,
tell you what I'm not happy about. We talked about
the
in the
shoes,
first,
the coats, the mustache, the Steve Martin of it all.
certainly there's that. He does look like a man, like a community theater actor dressed up like a detective. That's a problem.
Oh my god, that is so true.
Um,
It's the
but
like waiting for Guffman
yes, yeah.
adaptation of Murder on the Orient Express.
Hmm.
Oh, say no more. That's exactly right.
But also, we remarked about Revenge and the actual font,
Uh-huh.
that block, that kind of pleasing block lettering of the
Yes.
Pink Panther. And look at that font that seems to be saying zany, fun, crazy good time. And just like the movie, that font is anything but that. And the only reason
Yeah.
they think it's saying that is because it's disjointed and on different lines.
And
The
what
font
the
itself, I don't know, it's really bothering me.
the font of the title really reminds me of something, but I can't quite place it. Is it like it's like a
It looks like a face you want to punch,
well, yeah, but also the like the graphics from a certain TV show, like maybe a dating show or
like the
something.
dating game,
Yeah, but
almost
it's
like the
something
dating game.
even more specific than that. But I can't place it.
Dating game
Oh
is
well.
very specific.
No, I know, but I don't.
I'll have you
And
know.
maybe that's where my mind was going. But there's something else. But I'm never gonna be able to pick it out.
All right. Also,
Cocktail bar.
what?
This is what the signs of cocktail bars look like retro cocktail bars.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm thinking of.
I thought I thought you were I thought you were trying to evoke something from the movie Cocktail and trying
No.
to remember the name of the bar that they wanted to make, which was Cocktails and Dreams. And I thought you were
Whoa!
triumphantly saying cocktail bar like that was right.
Cocktails and Dreams.
Yeah. Have you not seen
Uh,
that movie?
I've seen it, but you know, it's not recently. I mean, it's one of those movies that was on between 8 and 10
Yeah.
on ITV once a month. So I watched it until the news came on. I usually
Funny.
end it. I seem to remember most of the time I would stop watching it when they were humping in a waterfall. I remember that was my cutoff point most of the time. Is there a scene where he humps in a waterfall?
Yeah.
Yeah. About
But
that point, I'm like, meh.
it's Elizabeth Shue, so that's where I get super interested.
Yeah. I remember it being really good. I remember really enjoying it. I'm scared to go back and find out whether that's the case, but I'm sure
Oh,
I'm sure I would enjoy it. For fuck's sake, I loved rewatching The Firm.
yeah.
It's just not good at all. But
No,
man,
come
did I
on.
enjoy
It's
it.
a good
But
time.
man, did I enjoy watching that.
Yeah.
Well, we're not really, I guess we're not really talking about this, but,
Because we don't want to. Here's another thing that bothers me. You're seeing the Panther without seeing the Panther. It's as
yeah.
though I doubt that Steve Martin, I don't know, who knows, but it's as though they said there's only one star of this movie and it's Steve Martin. So we're not
Mm.
going to see that Panther.
Well, it does say above him, Steve Martin is Inspector Clouseau.
What's with that too? Because I want to talk about that. Why is that there and then the space bar for Kevin Kline and Beyonce Knowles? What's
Steve Martin is Inspector Clouseau. Spacebar. Kevin Kline.
yeah.
Space. Beyonce Knowles. Well, you know what my criticism's gonna be. This should be, Beyonce Knowles above the title.
Yeah.
Steve Martin is Inspector Clouseau with Kevin Kline in Beyonce's Knowles the Pink Panther. Or just Beyonce's the Pink Panther. I don't need
Yeah.
her last name. We all know who she is.
She's Beyonce.
Yeah. Yeah, also, there is it kind of gives both his coat and the shadow give it a sad grayness.
Yeah,
that
right.
that oh, also his hair. I mean, there's nothing he can do
He
about
can't
that.
do
He's got
anything about that. Let's not.
you could have a George Bush multicolored Afro wig on. Bearing in
Every
mind, I explained about my
every
hair.
movie poster I could ever be on, you'd be like, there's just something about that shine careening off his head. I just
I
don't like
get
it.
it. You're bold, okay? No, I know. That's not. It's not fair, but it is unfortunate that he's got a grey Mac, grey
Yeah.
hair, and a grey shadow behind him.
Well, and even the mustache, like all of that turns that half of the poster into full grayscale.
Is that possible with grey hair to have a black mustache and grey hair?
Ooh, I don't know.
I feel like I've seen it, but
Yeah, I suppose it could happen. But and also everything we said about the first poster, this poster is the opposite in terms of the font and the writing.
yeah,
Look at it vertically.
but it's not vertically
Pink,
integrated.
yeah, not vertically integrated. Pink, black, pink, darker pink, small black. February 10th. Illegible pink on the bottom. There's no rhyme or reason to it.
Also, is his leg being slightly up supposed to represent a tail?
Well, there's already a tail on him in shadow, so
Right, but is it supposed to be like his tail? Like that's Clouseau's tail, and then behind him is
yeah,
the
I
Pink
know.
Panther's tail.
I don't know.
And then the Pink Panther's arm is sticking out. His has got his in the pocket. This is a conceptual nightmare. To quote Mark Hamill in the Mayor to the Mob episode of The Simpsons. The show is a conceptual nightmare.
Yeah, Yeah, it's a real mess.
Guys and dolls. We're just a bunch of crazy guys and dolls. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I rewatched the Alien episode with Leonard Nimoy. Good stuff.
Yeah. It's I've been listening to a lot of Simpsons DVD commentaries, including one of them was Marge versus the Monorail,
Oh yeah.
where and Conan O'Brien's on that one, and they talked about that they felt that they jumped the shark when they had Leonard Nimoy disappear at the end of the
Really?
episode when he says you didn't do anything and he says didn't I and he
Didn't
disappears.
I?
They were like there was like apparently people in the Simpsons writers room who's like that's it. We've jumped the shark. That's it. The Simpsons claim to naturalism is all over. And I love that that's the discussion they had. Like
Yeah,
it's sort
right.
of like it's like are we gonna sacrifice like 8 years of fucking naturalism just to do this one joke?
Just to do this bit.
And they were, I think, in the room they were like, "That was really a tipping point. We felt justified to argue for bizarre shit after that. After that got approved."
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, um, do you have a ranking in mind?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know what my number one is. Do we go? Oh no, we go bottom to top, don't we, for
We go
this?
bottom to top. Yeah.
Uh, do I need to move anything, or is this your bottom?
It's pretty tough. I don't mind telling you.
Uh,
Um,
I think your comment about the community theater detective has tipped this over the line for me. Of being my bottom, I think that was all I needed to quote to quote Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. That was all I needed. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the Pink Panther
all right, wait.
2006. Go back.
Sure. Go back one.
Oh my God, I forgot. Wow. Okay, I totally forgot this existed. That this is how
Um,
bad this one is. It made me forget about this one. Wow.
yeah.
That
I
almost
have to
means
go this one because
this one.
they're both terrible in almost exactly the same way.
I'm gonna do some handy
But
PowerPoint direct comparison.
I'm gonna have to go Benini. But Benini is my bottom.
He's everyone's butter. You talking about sex, right? He he is a classic bottom.
Yeah, the forced perspective thing,
Yeah.
the uh the sort of lack of focus of him in the picture
Hmm.
is also too displeasing. They have the same problems. Oh man. Yeah, no, oh fuck. I think I like the Pink Panther gun in the back more than the Pink Panther shadow though.
That's what I'm thinking.
Damn it.
Well, it's up to you. I'm definitely this is definitely my bottom,
Uh,
and I'll tell you my reasons why after you've decided, because I don't want to prejudice you.
the font on this one's laid out better too.
The Benini.
The Benini and the
Hmm.
Funny, even though it's a stupid line, but Funny has a color all of its own. It's situated better and more eye pleasingly than the other
Yeah.
poster, which is a problem. So font stuff better here, but picture worse is worse. What is the bigger crime? Go back to the other one.
Could not be giving this more thought. Although, instead of explaining to your surviving relatives why that's on your gravestone, I could just say, just watch this YouTube video, you will understand, okay? Look at how long he took to choose between these two posters.
Oh, God damn it. Go back to the other one.
This is like the end of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's we were talking about post credit buttons on the Patreon. That's another good post credits buttons. At the end of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, we go back to his boss, who's still
Yeah.
he's got his slice of pumpkin pie and his turkey, and he's still
Hmm.
looking at
It's very
the
good.
two cuppies. Yeah.
Go back. Oh boy. God, can't I combine the two? I want to put Steve Martin on this poster.
What, to make a better poster or a worse poster?
A better poster.
Okay, well,
No, well,
joint bottom.
hmm.
That's all you can do, I guess.
Because his uniform color is better. So if you add the grayscale drab to this one, it probably makes it worse. Fuck.
At least there's a pink Panther. I mean, it's only his hand, but
Yeah.
it's pink.
Go back.
Mike, someone's booked this closet later
Okay.
tonight. I just want to
This
say,
one is the worst
this
one.
this is
This
the
one is the
yeah.
worst
You're
one
right. You're right. You're right.
because of his gray drabness and that font of the Pink Panther. It's no good. This is the worst one.
Do you know what the saving grace was? I realized the one thing I was trying to go, oh, what do I like about this? Because I did nothing but um do it down, do it dirty.
Yeah.
90s fat lettering.
Hmm.
I didn't notice it with the pink. I love that stretched fat lettering.
Yeah, me too. I also
So,
like of the under sun.
and I think essentially it's gotten really nothing to do with the posters. It's about what decade I prefer. The 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 2000s or the 90s, and there we go. There's your answer. It's the
That
90s.
was a real Sophie's choice.
I'll say. Um, yeah. All right.
All right.
So
Second
we're in.
worst right here.
Yeah. Second. No, because of the fat lettering, that's gone number one for me now. No, it is still the second worst. Barely. That fat lettering saved you.
Yeah.
Um, I wonder how they came up with it. Like someone was accidentally stretched it and was like, actually, that looks quite good. I know
Yeah, right.
ratio wise, it doesn't really work, but it kind of looks good. Let's put it on every action movie for the next 10 years.
Speed.
All right, so what's third from bottom?
Let me see him again. I think I know.
These are the remaining three. Let me know when to
Oh,
stop.
okay. Um,
I'm just gonna go between these two. Okay?
yeah. Yeah.
Not to make any assumptions, but I'm just gonna go between these two.
The Panther
Better, worse. Better
and
or worse?
Panther and
Better.
Clouseau are really good. That's about it.
Uh-huh.
Um, I don't know. What are you
What do I
thinking?
think? Despite all my criticisms, and they are many, I think this is my next
Mm,
choice. I think the, the Curse of the Pink Panther that triggers some of my poster OCD, my POCD. But this is a greater culprit of graphic misalignment, I
Hmm.
think.
That's my problem is that,
It would take probably take number two spot because of that lovely Panther
yeah,
if it stopped at Trail of the Pink Panther, but everything beneath that is has to be considered as part of the poster
yeah.
and is all a big mistake.
And they could
So
have,
I know which movie. Ironically, I think I said Trail of the Pink Panther was better than Curse of the Pink Panther, but in terms of the posters, I'm flipping them.
yeah, I think I am too. I don't want us to be the same, but that was my initial thinking was
Again, you
Trail was
convinced me.
next.
You convinced me slightly.
Yeah.
There's not much between them because once
Yeah.
again, they put green type on a
On a
green
green
background,
mountain. It's
which is
just like
almost enough.
nonsensical, kind
It's
of
almost
stupid.
it's almost enough to put it below the Steve Martin Pink Panther. But
Hmm.
all things considered, everything being equal or sequel.
Plus, generally speaking, Panther movies like a lot of white, a lot of negative space white.
Hmm.
And this movie bucks that trend in a way that appeals to me.
Yeah. It also it says you know what it says to me? It says screwball comedy.
Yeah, which it's
And
not
no.
because of Ted Wass,
Well, but
but
it's more inviting as opposed to
yeah.
even if it might make it more disappointing
Yeah, I think
as a
so too.
movie.
I think Trail is next,
Hmm.
followed by Curse, because we know which one's the best one.
What in terms of the movies?
Posters.
Oh, posters, yeah. Because you like Curse better than Trail.
Hmm.
Yeah. Again, narrow margins. I'm sure.
Because
I
it's a
don't want to
movie.
miss because it's. Yeah, I think that is the only reason. Whereas I think the reason I have Trail above Curse is because it's got the Peter Sellers at least appearing as Peter Sellers.
Yeah,
Um. Okay.
but that
Well,
Smug Panther is really nice.
yeah, it
I
is.
just wish the rest of that poster didn't suck.
And you're right though. There's a lot more. It takes a lot more creative chances. This poster.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, but look at that
yeah.
shit. Look at that shitty panther face though.
I know. That really bothers me.
I never wanted to see the Pink Panther's cum face, and now I feel like I have. Sounds like a sand person. Sorry, Tuscan Raider. What's the politically correct term now? Tuscan? It's just
Sure.
Tuscan, right? What do they call them in the Mandalorian? That's now what you're supposed to call them. Tuscans?
Okay.
I
Fine.
think Tuscans, not Tuscan Raiders, because again, that sort of suggests that they're raiding
Marauders.
shit. Yeah, sand
Raping and
people.
pillaging.
Definitely not sand people. Fucking racist Obi-Wan.
Well, he's very old. He's stuck in his ways, you know.
Didn't hear you correcting him though, Luke. It's on you too.
I think he's the first one that says, doesn't he?
Yeah, he says the sand people. He
He
says
says,
the
"Oh,
sand
sand
people.
people." Yeah.
Sand people are easily scared or something like that. Or,
All right. Well, I
yeah.
am Trail followed by Curse because only one of these posters is a good poster. Boom.
Number one.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is flawless, I would say.
love it.
Flawless poster. I mean, as soon as we started talking about it. And I never think about this before we do the
Me either.
episode,
No,
which is
I don't even look at them
no, I
till
don't
you
even
show them to me.
I make the PowerPoints and I don't even look at them.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I prepare so vigorously for the other stuff we do, but the posters are sight unseen. Um, but yeah, the not a no black mark against this that I can see.
Yeah.
Perfect poster. Let's recap that. So, what from top to bottom,
We're the same, the exact same.
we're the exact same. And I think mostly no, we're not chronological. So this is our number two.
Hmm.
So our number three, four somehow, and then five. Okay. Like the movies themselves, there's there's nothing between two or three of them, or very little between two or three of them.
Right.
So it makes what's good for the posters is good for the movies.
Hmm.
So there we are. Our business with the Pink Panther is concluded. No more trips back to Lugash to see that establishing shot of the mosque
Let's
in our
hope.
future. Jesus Christ. I hope that mosque got paid every time they were on screen. Like they kept getting royalties.
Want
Or
some
so
royalties, please?
someone turns up to their door with a fat envelope, like, oh, they made another Pink Panther movie. All right,
All
well,
right.
that's it. The only business we have to finish is to announce what our next series is going to be.
Hmm.
This was my suggestion,
Was indeed.
um, and you signed up for it immediately.
Yeah, now correct me if I'm wrong. You hadn't seen any of these.
The sequels, no, and I have seen the original, but only in the last few months.
Yeah.
So uh, it's not 100. The canon is not 100% new to me, but it's also a series that I think we would both agree you're better seeing certainly the original when it first came out if you're gonna buy into it. It might be hard to buy into in 2025. 4 was probably when I saw it.
For you.
Well, and I'm the control experiment, right? And I think that that there are those certain movies that are hard to sort of retroactively put into your childhood. It's like
Yeah.
if you didn't grow up with them, you're just not gonna have the same attachment to it. Like if
Well,
someone
because it's one of
someone saw
those,
Star Wars, if like someone
yeah,
of my age saw Star Wars for the first time, would they
they
give a
don't have a
shit?
frame
I
of
don't know.
reference for how much space and culture it took up.
Right. Though interestingly, former guest of the show Tom Taylor said on the Trading Places Minute that he recently saw Top Gun, the original
Hmm.
Top Gun, for the first time. I think it was part of the same discussion where he revealed he hadn't seen either of the Cannonball Run movies, which is when when I stepped in and reached out to him to come on our show, and he did, and it's a great episode, so look it up. Um, and he said watching the movie didn't change what he already he knew about the movie and its place in culture. Like he said, watching the movie adds nothing to what I already knew and thought about the movie based on how it appears in culture.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But yes, and we already teased that it's another series which has a long lifespan. Um, in
Hmm.
fact, we can, as we're getting closer to revealing what it is, we can say it's a 40-year long film series.
As of recently.
Yeah, which means it's a series that has had a sequel within the past year.
Hmm.
because the first one came out in 1984. Yeah, I could have done that with math, but I,
I want to say this is my recollection.
getting warmer. Any
Pretty
guesses?
sure I'm right about this. It's the first movie that my mom took me to see that was rated R.
Before you completed that sentence, I had an image of you coming out, being born, putting on a pair of glasses, and Beverly Hills Cop was there, which is the name of this. Sorry to announce the series that way.
You really, you're, you really sold that, didn't you?
It's like it's like me ruining a baby shower. Yeah, now it's blue in there. It's a boy. What? No, not supposed to say that. Okay.
Hey, it looks like there's something in this balloon, Pop. Oh shit, blue paint.
This all looks like a penis. Does that mean it's a boy? Okay.
Yeah, we hadn't put the tarp down yet for the paint. Thank you. Wooden
Well,
floors covered in paint.
some of you might have been turned away from the laptop. I don't know how you're consuming this media. Phones. I don't know. Um, and not have heard that. So,
Up
uh,
next for the Everything Sequel podcast, the Beverly Hills Cop series.
Beverly Hills Cup series, the spin-off of the Beverly Hills Chihuahua series, I believe. That's the order it definitely came in.
How dare you?
And not, as I originally thought, Beverly Hills Cop. I watched all of those movies and then realized that that's not what we agreed to do. I don't know if you've seen Beverly Hills Cop. It's about a Mexican fish that gets introduced into the LA streams. It's not real. There's no Beverly
It's
Hills
like,
Cop.
what are you talking about? I'm excited to see what you have to say about this series. Because I've got thoughts, of course, and it's one of those
Yeah,
things that I grew up on, and there, I think generally speaking, people think there are highs, there are lows,
and there are middles.
and there are middles.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's just kind of spell it out because I don't know if it's common knowledge how many sequels there are and when they came. We've got one from the late 80s. That's the 87, I think.
That sounds right.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is 1994.
Yeah.
A date I had to
So
keep
that's one of those rare
a date I
things,
had to
right?
keep rechecking while I was watching the movie, by the way. We'll talk about that. And then 2024.
Yeah.
And that's Beverly Hills Cop
No,
colon
well,
Axel
Axel
F
F. Yeah.
colon Axel F. Beverly Hills Cop part two, part three, I believe, rather than just three, two and three. I seem to remember. Oh, we'll talk about it.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We normally get the title right uh, by the end. Yeah,
I
but
think it's
but
just
but
two
go
and three.
but go on. So it was the first movie you remember going to the.
Yeah, well, the early 80s were just sort of replete with movies that they wouldn't take us to, that I was not allowed to see, that I've even talked about on the podcast, I think. First Blood comes to mind, Terminator comes to mind, and we'd always be kind of pissed that these were movies we couldn't see.
Yeah, I was the same with Goodfellas and that guy,
And so I just remember,
Blue Velvet.
I remember my mom specifically saying, you know, like, I think this would be a fine movie for you to see, and I think you're mature enough and you can handle this. And I
So
was
she
like,
saw it
yes, yes,
yes.
yes, I can.
Did she
No,
see it
I think she
first?
was basing that just off of word of mouth and
Was she facing it?
and what she
That's
thought would be
great.
in the movie.
That is great.
I mean, at that point, we were exposed to enough violence that
Mm-hmm.
the
Just in the
shoot 'em up
home.
stuff didn't, yeah, just Like we used to shoot each other with I don't know if you remember pellet guns or disc guns.
Uh-huh.
These little plastic
Sure,
guns that
sure
would
do.
shoot
Oh, yeah.
those red, yellow, green
Mm-hmm.
discs.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Oh,
the
I know
Z
exactly what you're
pellets,
talking
those
about.
little yellow pellets. My mom would find them all over the house. Just like, if I find one more of these discs,
You're
super
not gonna go
pissed.
and see Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah. But yeah, went and saw Beverly Hills Cop. Pretty sure it's funny because I like to remember first viewing moments.
Hmm.
And I remember Beverly Hills Cop as Theater 2 Man Theaters
Whoa.
because that's a theater I used to work at too
Ah.
as a teenager. So eventually I came to know the number of the theaters and second theater on the right.
Last house on the left, second theater on the right.
Yeah.
Oh, terrific. Well, I'll save. That's enough for now. I'll save asking you about whether you've seen any of the sequels in a movie theater. I know I'm for sure you haven't seen at least one of them in a movie theater because it never fucking got there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's our next series. So it's a trilogy of sequels coming up.
Hmm.
So look, and a timely one, I think, as well,
Yeah.
with both the release of XLF and also as the SNL 50, in which Eddie Murphy heavily featured,
Yeah.
quite rightly too. And we'll talk about his career and its changes, which are exemplified by all these movies.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm giving nothing away. I'm really excited to talk about them with you. Also, um, I got a lot to say, and all I know I'm vindicated with. It was a good choice of series to
Good.
tackle,
All right.
regardless of what I think about the
Well,
movies.
let's leave it there.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. So, this is the end of the Pink Panther series, as far as we know. Uh, I was about because all that stuff I said at the beginning is like, there's not one in sight. That Karate Kid movie completely snuck up on me.
Yeah,
It
right.
went from development to being out in a couple of months in about a week. So they could be making a Pink Panther right now, and we don't know about it.
True.
But anyway, let us know what you think about the posters.
Please,
We're
please.
Yeah, there are comments here on the YouTube video. You can leave us comments. If you got this far and you're thinking of leaving a comment about how you thought that our the episodes that we post were the actual movies, not podcasts about the movies, don't bother. We realized that we made them look like they were the movies early on, but now we put everything sequel there. So that's why. So apologies to that person who thought they were watching Piranha 2 The Sprawling. uh, but I still feel a bit aggrieved that they said all it was a stupid podcast about it. And I was like, well, you're interested in the movie. Why would you not want to hear a podcast about it? And fucking Matt Aldrich is on that episode. It's not just us two buffoons. There's a fucking working screenwriter talking about the movie. So, but thank you for your comments. Uh, so feel free to leave a comment, just not one like that, on this video, and let us know what you think about the posters or the series or anything you want to say to us, as long as it's relatively nice. And again, not about how the episodes we put up are not the movies. We know we realize we misled people, and
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
yeah, I try and keep you out of I trying to keep you out of the dark world of YouTube as much as possible. You don't want to.
I don't understand it
You don't want to
much.
step into that alleyway. It's a real cesspool. Um, but there's other ways to get in touch with us. You can find us on what are
See, not
this?
so fucking easy, is
It's
it?
not easy. Yeah, yeah. Well, I hadn't prepared to do this. You can find us on Facebook. You can
Sure.
find us on Instagram, you can find us on Threads, you can find us on Blue Sky, and you can find us on X if you're one of those people who leave the comments about um, how the episodes we post are not the movies. That seems like you'd
That's
be
the
the kind
place
of
to do it.
yeah. That seems like the kind of person who would also be on X. So
To
get in
lay
touch with
down
us.
your anger.
Yeah, to get in touch with us there. I we did have someone reach out on X, and not to say that they seemed like the kind of person who would be on X at all. Um, but they said you probably like our episode about bad sequels. Um, and what do you think my response was?
You said you've just done one episode?
No, the opposite. I just said there are bad sequels. Trying to keep up the brand here. You know,
Yeah, I like it.
you got to go in and be a sequel apologist if you're going to do the Everything Sequel podcast.
Yeah, well, I went the opposite direction.
We can also go. Well, you can go. We're already there. Everything sequel at gmail.com. Write us a message. We love getting them. Guaranteed to be read out on the show. Um, Probably by the time we wrap up Beverly Hills Cop. Um, and that's it. So,
Well done, Tom. Well done.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't well done, though, was it? Only in the sense of an overcooked steak. It was that kind of well done. Um, but nonetheless, this has been great.
Oh, good
Yeah,
times.
next time. So next time you see us here on YouTube, we'll be ranking the Beverly Hills Cop posters.
Very exciting.
I don't even know if Axel F had a poster, but we'll find out. There's really no need for one.
I can think of the picture on
Well,
Netflix's the screen.
there's a challenge for us. What do we do? Like, what counts as the poster for Axel F? I got a lot of questions
We'll
about.
figure it out.
Yeah, we had we're I don't know when this episode is coming out. Probably
Couple
uh
weeks.
couple of weeks from now, which is the Tuesday after the Oscars. And there was kind of a mini discussion in the Oscars about sort of theater cinema versus streaming.
Hmm.
So I'm sure we'll have that discussion on Axel F.
Very good
I
then.
I didn't watch any of the Oscars, but from a distance, there was a lot of self-evident irony. We had we had Demi Moore losing an Oscar
Hmm.
to a child, which was essentially the plot of The Substance. So it was like a conceptual Oscar. She was beaten by a much younger actress, which was the whole fucking point of The Substance. So that just vindicated that movie even more. And then, not content with making an overlong movie, Adrian Brody did an overlong Oscar speech.
Yeah, he talked a while.
I guess when he was making the Brutalies, he just got in the pattern of not cutting shit out. And so it made it into his Oscar speech. So those are my reflections on the Oscars. Oh, tell us, how dare you awards? Tell us, you got those in the works.
Yeah, but we're still counting votes, so
Okay. Are you gonna
we'll have
have
to.
a special episode on that?
Yeah, but we maybe we can. I can throw out some announcements
Yeah, yeah. Happy
on
to
an
talk about.
episode.
Yeah, no, I'd love that. But anyway, but can people? Is there anywhere where people can go and fill those in, or is it will it be too late by the time?
That's a good question.
And you were clearly prepared for it too.
Yeah. Uh, I tell you what, go to the Facebook page
Uh-huh.
for
2 weeks ago,
no,
and then
let's do this. Go to our Instagram page and it'll be in the byline.
oh, good. What
So
of how
go
dare you or everything's
no,
equal?
everything's equal.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
some great choice. And as someone who hasn't seen any of these fucking movies,
Who
believe me, you
cares?
don't need to.
Yeah.
Mike will explain anything that needs to be explained. The
Too
rest
much
you can
detail.
just guess. Great.
My
Well,
penguin friend.
can you see who voted for what? Or is it all
I
anonymous?
can't
Okay.
see who. I just see percentages.
Do you imagine that that was my choice for movie? The movie, what's the was movie that could be a
Title that
porn
best
movie?
fits a porno movie.
Porn movie?
Yeah,
Is that what you think I put?
I would hope.
Yeah, I did.
I would hope that would get 100% of the votes, but
And there was some good one. I mean,
yeah.
there was a stiff category, pun intended. Um, but Penguin Friend was the front runner.
Yeah. Every time I said it out loud, it really got a chuckle out of me.
And next year you can do the Penguin lessons as
Yeah,
well. So that could be the sequel to my Penguin
exactly
Friend. It's
right.
the Penguin lessons. Anyway,
Check that byline. It'll be there.
hmm and so we'll be back in what, a couple of months?
Sure.
Yeah, whenever you next see us, rather than a video that looks like it might be the movie, but it's not the movie.
That's really a sticking point. Are you done now?
I am, in every sense.